Well, it's my first time doing anything like this, so I did ask them to be a bit gentle, and I think I'd rather be back on the front line of Afghanistan right now. That's me looking quite a lot taller than I do here. So I suppose the best way to start something like this with Can and Will is how my father taught me to be. He was a military man, he served in the army, and he taught me that any problems you face in life, you can push through, you can work through, and you can strive to overcome them. So it was quite a strict, harsh childhood, which we'll say. I hated it dearly. My first true test to his words when I was younger was when I was 19. I was a police officer for Sussex Police. My mother got really ill, and I did what anyone of that age would do. I basically ran away. I went travelling. I absolutely loved it. But the problems are still there when I got home. And I realised that, well, you can't run away from stuff like that. So that was probably my first real learning point from what my father had taught me as a young lad. So I've come back home, problems are still there, and I kind of went, I've got no life, I've got no direction, I'm just sort of floating around. What can I do? So I joined the Royal Air Force. This was partly because still issues with father being quite strict. But also there was I called him my uncle, but he was my godfather. He was in the Royal Air Force during World War II. He was the youngest squadron leader during World War II, based out of Tangmere. So I looked up to him a lot, and I thought it might annoy my dad a little bit more as well. So there I was, out in Afghanistan, chilling out with the boys. Love that pic. Everything was going well. We were doing a lot of hearts and minds sort of stuff with the RAF regiment. That's mainly what we do, taking doctors and, veterinarians out to the local people and winning them over and helping them out with whatever they need. Our normal tour is 6 to 7 months. I was there for 3 months when I got blown up. And I took heavy shrapnel in my first IED. And I say that, my first IED, because 2 weeks later, I was blown up again. One might say a certain type of magnet. It wasn't great. I was blown up, flipped, rolled and crushed about 3 times, and I was trapped under my vehicle, which weighed about 4.5 tons for 3.5 hours. I shattered every bone in my lower left leg, apart from my big toe. I suffered a mild brain injury, and at the time they thought quite extensive spinal damage because I was in no pain and couldn't move my lower body. It took about 22 jacks to raise the vehicle up. Otherwise, if they'd rolled it, it would have killed me. After about 2 hours of being in this position, I kind of realised that I was putting the men that I was with, my mates, my brothers, in a lot of danger. So I kind of thought, I got to end this. So I was trying to reach for my pistol. Not a good move. But fortunately, I couldn't reach it and couldn't find it. So I'm still here. And I got out. It was 24 hours before I was back in the United Kingdom. They flew me straight back up to Birmingham, which was Selly Oak. It's now Queen Elizabeth. And it was the start of a very physical and emotional sort of time for me. It's a battle that still continues, in all honesty. In the first 2.5 years, I had 14 major surgeries and multiple day surgeries in an attempt to save my leg. There was a few other guys injured in that as well. There weren't as few as lucky, but fortunately we all survived in the initial incident. But for me, especially now, pacing up and down the stage, the physical injury is not what hinders me. It's the psychological injury. When I was blown up back in 2008, it was believed that about 1 in 8 serving personnel had post-traumatic stress disorder. I think with current and recent figures, it's probably closer to about 1 in 4. The time of year I got blown up was the 27th of October. Fireworks time. Hoofing. I quickly discovered I had an issue with loud bangs. I don't think I was even out of hospital by this point. PTSD it kind of sends you in to do crazy little things. For me, I remember being in Tesco's, someone knocked off a can of beans or something, and I was flat out on my belt buckle, as we call it, screaming incoming. Everyone thought I was a little bit bonkers. But it also manifests itself in other ways with the guys. There's the social withdrawal, the not wanting to go out and do stuff you've done before, which pushes you into the next one, which is kind of aggression, because you get your back up and you go, do that again and I'm going to slap you. Which then leads into your others, because the other guys that were injured and feeling it was my fault, I had quite a severe guilt complex that, you know, I've ruined not only what I thought at the time ruined my life, but ruined 3 other guys' lives as well with their injuries. I turned to suicidal thoughts, and even on a couple of occasions planned my own suicide, that it would have the least effect, if that's possible, on my friends and family. And then also there's the alcohol. I was 22 when I got blown up, and I was a clinical alcoholic. And I got told by my doctors and consultants that I wouldn't live past 30 if I carried on the way I was going. It's not a way to live. So I said no. I kind of had a little bit of an epiphany and moment in front of the mirror and was like, I don't want to live like this. I think I went from being about 16.5 stone of lean, mean fighting machine to about 9 stone, weedy looking, horrible thing. And I used sport with the assistance of these guys. Battle Back is a military initiative, but it's completely funded for by Help for Heroes. And it's run out of Headley Court. They really made me sort of turn my life around and realise that, you know, I can do pretty much anything. I kept being told I can't do stuff whilst I was being injured in that position. You know, I'm in a wheelchair, crutches, back into a wheelchair with all these operations. One in particular, I just had one of my major surgeries, and I'd spent 6 months training to swim the channel with a few other injured guys. Now, the English Channel has been attempted more times than Everest and completed less. So we're going for it, we're going for it, we're going for it, and they go, you need an operation, it's major surgery, and it was 7 days before our window. And the doctor went, it's not possible, it's probably not even physically, humanly possible, and I went, yeah, whatever. 13 hours, 47 minutes later, we're in the land of the French. We quickly returned. This was, as I said, the turning point in my life. To realise that, you know, no matter when someone tells you you can't do something, to push on. And almost going back to what my father instilled in me. So I've got a little bit of an ethos these days, which is live fast, die young, see everything. There's nothing I can't do, except probably hop on this leg. I've been climbing around some awesome parts of the world. This was in Spain, and I'm a climbing instructor, again, through Help for Heroes and Battle Back. I've been kayaking all around the world, teach some other injured guys kayaking, and love doing it. I've been scuba diving all over the world, but unfortunately with some of my injuries to my ears and that, can't go past 15 meters, which sucks. But still good fun, and it gets the guys doing stuff. I'm an adaptive water ski instructor. I teach injured soldiers, as well as kids with disabilities as well. Water skiing, trick skiing, and just make them have an opportunity they might not normally get to do something that they're probably told they can't do either. I learned to ski 2 years ago, and by the end of the week, for those of you that ski, I was skiing black runs and diamonds. A little bit hairy. I was played a warm-up game before the Winter Paralympics in Vancouver and Whistler. We smashed the Canadians. We weren't even in the team. I rode Land's End to John O'Groats, did the 3 Peaks Challenge in the meantime, swam Lake Barla, Lake Windermere and Loch Ness on the way. We did it in 2 weeks. Raised a load of money for the RF Benevolent Fund. That was pretty awesome, especially the Scottish part with all the distilleries. And also part of a training team with injured soldiers to go to the South Pole. I didn't make the team, I had a few cut-offs, but maybe the next speaker can help me if he ever wants to go and see a lot more snow. So, last week, you know, taking all these sports, using it for a recovery, it was a pretty defining moment. It held the first ever Invictus Games, which this guy realised as well. It can play such a massive part in turning guys' lives around, guys and girls, I should say, actually. Incredible role model, an amazing man. So, as I said, 3 nights ago, I celebrated the Invictus Games in the swimming with 4 golds and 1 silver in the swimming event. Thank you. Thank you. It was an amazing experience, not only for the British guys, but across the world. Injured service personnel across the world, almost going into the cannon wheel attitude. I celebrated it with a few friends. The legend. But that wasn't enough. 26,000 people shared it with us. It was a great time. But for me, it wasn't just the winning, it was the taking part of it. The physical journey that not only that I'd taken and the emotional, but all the guys and competitors there, you know, it's the physical side that's, you know, can be fixed, as we've seen even with Mick as well. It's the psychological side that, you know, some of us still battle on and will. It's not something that goes away. We all carry our own demons. Or old psychological scars in some way, shape or form. And it's about pressing through them. The trick is to say no. You know, when it gets tough, I'm going to continue. I'm going to crack on. It's to not throw in the towel when, you know, everything just seems bleak and lost. And to just sort of fight on, which is being military, what we do. For our own futures, but it's something that everyone can take away as well, is to just strive and fight and just go, I'm going to do that. So I want to leave you with a poem. It kind of was the meaningful part behind the Invictus Games. It's Invictus by William Ernest Henley. And I think it's an amazing piece as well. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of twisted wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishment the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Thank you.